Hey, welcome everyone to the next series of webinars, webinar in our series. Um, we've been talking a lot about AI and Gen AI throughout the year, and this webinar is going to focus specifically on modernizing government contact centers with AI technology. I'm your co-host, Kirk Jubek. I lead product for our workforce modernization product offerings, including our contact center and unified communication solutions. I have over 20 years experience developing contact center solutions for some of the largest enterprises in the US. Andrea, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, I'm Andrea Roman. I am the Director of Client Engagement for the public sector here at InterVision. And I come actually from the public sector. I had 33 years in the state of California, spending my time in various executive level positions, both in the courts and in the executive branch, leading and driving technology for probably the last 20 years of my career.
And we're also joined by Chris Carter from AWS. Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. My name is Chris Carter. I'm with AWS. I've been here about 7 years, and I focus exclusively on our contact center solutions with AWS. I cover public sector accounts in the West, and excited to be here. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Chris.
I think we can't really talk about the evolution of the citizen expectation without also talking about COVID, because what we do know is that COVID changes everything. Pre-COVID, if you wanted to interact with government, you went to the government offices. Your systems were designed to make government more efficient because government was the focus of service delivery. And probably most notable, the citizen was thought of as a consumer of services. During COVID, the demand shifted very quickly because government had to be able to deliver services to the citizen that were no longer able to come to them. This resulted in systems being modified and the shift to digital transactions. What this really did was show the citizen what government could do, the art of the possible, and how services could be consumed. This opened the door and the citizens ran through it. And so post-COVID, what we see is the shift of the citizen as a consumer of services to a customer. And this is driving the need to create a customer experience that is personal, seamless, digital, and on demand. We have to deliver to the customer what they need, where they need it, when they need it, and how they want it delivered. This is the new government. The expectation is government should be like Amazon or Uber, on demand, quick, and simple. The key is how we get there, because how we get there matters, as is depicted in the next slide. The expectation today is that services are inclusive and accessible. But what does that really mean? Inclusivity is the practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized, such as those having physical or intellectual disabilities or belonging to other minority groups. Accessibility ensures everyone can perceive, understand, navigate, and interact with digital information regardless of ability. These blocks further define the expectation of government services. They have to build trust and confidence, and they do that by delivering to all in a manner that is digestible, fair, and secure. They need to be personalized, make the customer feel like they matter in the process. It's not just that the customer is always right, it is that the customer is a valued member of the ecosystem. Decisions that are made should be based on factual information, not biases of the system or personal biases. Access and communication must be seamlessly available in multiple forms, whether that is voice, SMS, messenger apps, or web chat. When a customer is verified in one system of government, that verification should transfer to all. This is still a challenge that most governments are working on, but the customer should be able to log in one time as a consumer of state services and gain access to all state services they need. There is a recognition that technology continue to evolve and government should continue to evolve with it. Gone are the days of operating on 20-year-old technology. At the same time, government services need to be efficient, easy to access, and provide cost savings. It shouldn't be more expensive for me to access services electronically. This shift from citizen to customer and how the expectation should change the way government seeks to deliver services also means the technology has to understand humankind. What goes into development is important. You will hear today how AI is being used in contact centers to do just that. Create a personal experience that is inclusive, accessible, and seamless.
So just to piggyback on that, Andrea, right, there's the mindset shift where citizens have traditionally been thought of as service consumers instead of customers, and to your point, COVID really started to change that mindset, and that continues to this day. And Chris, I know we talked a little bit before about how it's funny you can know exactly where your pizza is, but then if you want to know where your unemployment claim is, that you might have to wait on the phone for hours to be able to get that information. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've all experienced that I guess contact center experience or call that we've had to make to the DMV or unemployment insurance or tax or other public sector services, and often just to get very basic status, like what's the status of my claim, or where do I go to do this, or what form do I need for that. But when we're dealing in the private sector, a lot of those types of organizations have come up with ways to proactively notify the consumer of what's happening. And yeah, Kirk, as we mentioned, the pizza tracker, right? If you order a pizza, not only that it's on its way to you, but when it entered the oven, when it came out of the oven. And this avoids those calls. And so in public sector, we need to be thinking in that same way, right? Let's be more proactive. The best contact center experience is one where you don't have to call. It's just, this is eliminated altogether. So being proactive with the consumer instead of the customer, or the customer instead of the consumer, I should say, goes a long way to improving customer service there.
All right, appreciate that. So, the topic of this conversation about how is AI addressing these challenges. So here are a number of the areas where AI applications are impacting the contact center. AI is stepping in to enhance the experience and operations of the contact center. And specifically, generative AI and conversational AI are making waves by transforming how customer interactions are handled. Where traditional bots in the past might have fallen short, these new technologies can better understand and respond to complex customer queries. So AI-enabled features like more intelligent conversational AI bots and virtual agents, expanding omnichannel support and having AI provide the link that creates the common experience across those channels. Use in workforce empowerment and engagement applications, predictive analytics and sentiment analysis. And it even goes into training, right? The ability to train new agents or further train existing agents by having AI, coming back with recommendations on how to respond to customers in real time. We'll talk a little bit about that. But recent innovations that have been driving the excitement around the next generation AI solutions include the transformers. So I think a lot of people are familiar with GPT-4 or ChatGPT. That's a transformer-based foundation model. These large language models are what basically these AI applications utilize to provide those natural-based interfaces. So, ChatGPT's taken the world by storm, right? So a lot of improvements are happening, have happened, and they continue to happen at a rapid pace. So what we're talking about right now may significantly change in 3 months. Improving the capabilities of these AI solutions. Using AI to be contextually aware and provide personalized responses is a benefit. So talking about self-service and virtual agents, the conversational AI and the Gen AI enabled conversational bots have become much more intelligent in terms of understanding, the input that humans are speaking, and also generating the responses that come back. In traditional, virtual agents or chat bots, you had to define what the response was going to be back to the customer in specific terms. With the Gen AI enabled bots, it's contextually aware of the conversation and is able to adjust its response based on that context using natural language, a conversation that has accuracy, empathy, and relevant responses. So these automated solutions empower citizens to resolve issues independently through AI self-service solutions like chatbots and interactive voice response or conversational AI bots. As Andrea talked about, customers are expecting the world to be digital first. They're seeing this in the commercial side, and businesses are not only competing with each other within the industries that they operate, but across contact centers. If customers are becoming accustomed to certain levels of service within the private sector, they're starting to expect that in the government side too. And so that's what's driving a lot of this mindset shift into addressing the consumer's needs, is because consumers are seeing the world as being digital first these days.
And Kirk, I can add to that just a little bit. We move away from the AI conversation, but when we talk about the channels that our customers can engage us on now, it's not just voice, right? It's not just calling in, but using an app. And when we're inside of that application, having access to the relevant information, but also access to agents through voice and video interfaces. This can be done, through an application, but it can also be done through a website. And as Andrea mentioned, accessibility earlier in the conversation, this can, help provide that empathetic interface between the agent and the person. So much is lost in just a voice conversation, but now you can be face to face. You can use it for fraud even. You can validate that you're actually speaking to who you think you're speaking with. We have the ability now to share screens inside of the contact center. So if somebody's struggling with, finding something specific on the website or filling out a form, agents can now actually help that person as if they were standing there, together at a counter. So this, this omnichannel engagement goes well beyond just I want to use SMS or email or voice or chat to one now where we can provide a much better citizen experience. And in ways that we've never been able to do before.
Right. Okay, I appreciate that. And next, you talked a little bit about this, Chris, about predictive and proactive engagement. If a lot of contact centers are looking, how can I reduce my inbound traffic? How can I reduce the resources to handle this inbound traffic? Well, one of them is to eliminate the inbound traffic, right? So if there are things happening related to that customer that about before they do, that's a perfect opportunity to provide a proactive engagement. And AI basically empowers that solution to predict customer needs in the future. So, for example, if there's customer's driver's license has expired and they're calling in, you might assume that they're calling in about their expired driver's license, and you can confirm that with the customer. So whether it be an inbound and you're going to route them based on their predicted intent, or whether you're predicting their intent before they even contact the contact center so that you can proactively engage them, is a much more efficient way to operate the contact center. And it provides a better customer experience in the end also. Chris, do you have anything you want to add to the proactive engagement piece?
Yeah, I was looking at the third bullet there, the empowering agents with AI insights. So, as you mentioned, you might know why they're calling, but we also, once we identify who the caller is, we also have a lot of information about them, maybe what their claim status is, when their last payment was, when their benefits expire. And we can bring all of that, forward to the agent ahead of time using AI. And as the customer is speaking, I need help with, or, whatever that question might be, we can use generative AI to search through knowledge bases, to search through job aids and other agent documents, and combine that with that person's specific information. to generate answers and help those agents provide not only accurate answers, but fast answers to their problem. And when we look from the business point of view, what that enables then is I can speak with more customers every day, and I can do it again with an empathetic voice, with accurate answers, and without that frustrating experience that we've all had. So.
Okay, great, thank you. So continuing down the benefits of AI in workforce empowerment. There's a lot of tools, and we'll talk specifically here about the Amazon Connect platform because there's a lot of capabilities and AI solutions built into Amazon Connect and the supporting AWS services that can be utilized in the contact center. So empowering your agents, empowering your supervisors can go a long way in improving the customer experience and the operational efficiency of your contact center. And it's good for the agents and supervisors to not burn out. Specifically, we'll dig into one of them here, Amazon Q and Connect. And so basically, this is an agent assistant that's built into the Amazon Connect agent workspace, which is the agent desktop solution. And embedded within there, you have the capability using Amazon Q to detect the conversation in real time. So it's listening and transcribing the conversation. If it's a chat, it's using that the text input to determine, what is the intent, what are potential issues that are being raised by the customer, and it's coming back in real time and providing real-time recommendations on how to respond to the customer, and even providing links to reference materials. And this is all driven by a knowledge base that's trained on the enterprise data. So this is typically the first point of implementing these solutions is identifying the data that's going to be used to train these AI engines to provide the information within the context of that enterprise. So it's a very powerful solution that improves agents' productivity, reduces burnout, improves training, because as agents are getting real-time feedback, they can it's training them along the way, and also helps to reduce burnout. Another solution, Amazon, the Contact Lens, which is the conversational analytics quality management solution built into Amazon Connect. And it provides, you can see some examples here of some of the screenshots it provides. So it can summarize conversations. So typically agents have to do, call wrap up. They have to summarize the conversation, add in notes. The AI technology can summarize that for the agent in real time. So instead of taking minutes to wrap up a call, they can take seconds to wrap it up. And then from that conversation, you can gain a lot of information about that conversation, including theme detection, where you can define the themes that your contact center, that you want to track in your contact center, and the AI engine will automatically categorize those into specific themes. Also, you can detect sentiment. Let's see. Yeah, so we can detect sentiment of the customer throughout the life cycle of that call. You can see this graph down here in the bottom left, and then behind here has information about the sentiment, which again really reduces the effort that the agent needs to have to wrap it up, and also to analyze what happened within that call. And then from the supervisor's point of view, they have the option to have performance evaluations done on those particular calls. So typically those are a very manual process. Amazon Connect has built-in performance evaluations that are automatically generated through AI. And so it really reduces the amount of time the supervisor needs to evaluate those particular conversations. And it allows them to reduce the effort, but also you can increase the number of conversations that you're analyzing. So I think typically today, 1% or less of conversations are being analyzed and evaluated. And with these tools, you can increase that significantly to capture a wider number of conversations, because if you're not evaluating 99%, there may be lots of things slipping through the cracks that are not being identified.
Yeah, and Kirk, if I could add to that just a
Yeah.
little bit, there's some other key metrics that are shown on that screen there. So might be difficult to see, but talk time. So we can look at how much time did the agent speak and how much time did the customer speak, but maybe more importantly, how much time did nobody speak? And when there are calls where there are significant periods of time where nobody is speaking, it probably means that the agent is having to go do some research or go find something. And it's an opportunity as a business to, again, bring more information to the agent so that they don't have to put people on hold or they don't have to spend a significant amount of time looking for information. So there's an important metric in that. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I was going to talk a little bit about sentiment too, but you can, in real time, you can analyze sentiment. I think earlier we said post call, but we can actually evaluate sentiment in real time as the conversation is happening. And if it starts to turn south, you can notify a supervisor, ahead of time. Maybe they can jump in and assist that agent, or you can maybe offer them a survey at the end, or offer the person who called the opportunity to speak directly with the supervisor if there was something maybe that didn't go right. So.
Yeah, great points. And yeah, and Amazon Connect provides dashboards that supervisors can use to be alerted in real time when certain events happen that you can configure. So yes, great point. Talking about the empathetic nature to the newer AI solutions, this was an example that I always find interesting. And I'm just going to go ahead and play the audio of this, but this is basically a caller calling in to report their missing cat and calling into a virtual agent.
Thank you for calling. I'm a virtual agent. How can I help you today?
I lost my cat. I don't know what to do.
I'm sorry to hear about your missing cat. I recommend starting by looking around your home and nearby areas where your cat might hide, like under porches, in bushes, or around garages. Reaching out to neighbors and posting on local community boards can also help. You might want to notify nearby animal shelters and animal control in case someone has brought your cat in.
So that was based on untrained. That was based on the foundation model. It was untrained. So I thought it was very interesting, how it can respond to an empathetic tone just based on the input from the caller. So just an example of how these new AI technologies can improve that user experience when they're talking to these virtual agents.
Thank you for calling. I'm a virtual.
All right. And then, when we talk about AI, a lot of people immediately think about, okay, you're eliminating human jobs, you're replacing the humans. And that's not entirely true. We feel that humans will always need to be in the loop. The humans bring the sensibility, caution, intuition, things that that you can't really train AI engines on today. So having a human in the loop as these AR solutions are being developed and operating is a very important piece to the overall solution. And ultimately, humans and AI work best in tandem. Humans have the decision-making power to tailor the AI solutions to the way they want them to behave. All right, Andrea.
Yeah, and so I think it's important also as we talk about AI to look at, what's happening from a legislative perspective. And so in California, I can tell you that, last year there were about 40 bills introduced, all related to AI. Of those, 20 made it to the governor's desk, 3 were vetoed, and 17 were signed. The 17 signed really focused around the responsible use of AI, providing greater definitions and standards for means of education around what is AI and how to use AI. What also was signed were a number of bills that looked at the criminal use of AI, the exploitation of children through AI, deep fakes in politics and likeness, and using people's pictures without their permission and whatnot. And so recognizably, AI is, as you, Kirk and Chris, noted, a meaningful tool. for government. And it doesn't just improve the customer experience, but it also improves the way government can interact and can meet their efficient needs of getting their workload done. And so doing that in a way that is also then responsible and recognizing the importance of that, I think, helps to tell the full story of AI in government use.
And last slide. So this is a plug for InterVision. InterVision brings a wealth of AI experience and capabilities to your organization. So everything from upfront assessments of the data, all the way through model development, proof of concepts. We offer a wide range of capabilities. So if you're interested in understanding how to improve your contact center operations using AI, please feel free to reach out to us. And our experts will be happy to talk to you. With that said, let's open it up to questions. If you have a question, put it in the chat, or I think there's a Q&A section in here, so you can add that in there. But while we're waiting for questions, I don't know, Chris, is there anything else you want to add into, what Amazon is bringing to the table, the kind of the successes you're seeing in the field?
Yeah, I think it was mentioned there at the end, right? It's that AI is not a replacement for people. It's really more about making the people we have. I always say, like, give them superpowers, right? Like, allow them to be faster in their responses, more accurate in their responses. Allow supervisors to understand more about what's happening inside of the contact center, what the trends are. Why are people calling, and what can we do to help get that information out to those people faster? So it's really about again, creating super agents or super supervisors rather than replacing them. And when I look at a lot of the challenges we have in public sector contact centers specifically, it often revolves around scale. There are events that happen, open enrollment, elections, right? Like today, we have unemployment during COVID like spiked, and a number of different things that are often beyond anybody's control that cause significant amounts of traffic to reach our contact centers, often with very little notice. And so if we can make those agents more powerful, if we can provide self-service using AI so that questions can get answered on a Friday afternoon or on the weekend without having to wait to speak to somebody on Monday, then it just makes both the constituent or the customer's experience better, as well as those agents and supervisors. So I think AI is it's a step in the right direction to helping provide that better experience. So.
Great, thanks for that. A question came in, how is privacy and security addressed in AI solutions? So basically, there are patterns, there are mechanisms to put guardrails in place, basically, is call it guardrails, in place to ensure that the responses going back to the customers are within the policies, compliance rules set by the organization or the government. So it's typically not one large language model or foundation model that's used. It's typically a series and an orchestration of those models, and that's really where the expertise and experience that InterVision can bring to the table can help. Is how do you design these systems so that you do have those safeguards in place for privacy and security, and also all of these solutions depend on the data they're trained on. They're only as good as the data that they're trained on. So we bring a lot of capabilities in terms of analyzing data, how to structure it, how to ensure that governance and compliance rules are in place. So we do have capabilities to address the privacy and security concerns within these AI solutions. All right, well, that wraps up the time. I encourage you, if you have questions, if you want to learn more about how InterVision can help you, please feel free to reach out, and we'll be happy to take you down your AI journey. Thank you all.